how did I come to write an article about you, and what was the impetus to interviewing you? I actually was asked to go to the ground that day. I wasn't entirely aware that there was a women's training camp going on in New York. It wasn't very well publicized. But I got a call from an administrator in the Atlantic region who said, Peter, is a woman representing USA at this camp from the region named Pauline Williams, and we're hoping to help promote the region, and Pauline's going to be there, and we'd like for you to go out there and see if you can write something about her. And so I was like, all right, I'll go. I'd never really seen women's cricket in the U.S., so I was curious from that standpoint to see what the team was comprised of talent-wise. And I get out there, and I go to find Pauline and introduce myself, and there's a big commotion going on because Pauline is in a heated conversation with Durga Das and Indumati Gordial John, who is the captain and the player coach. Pauline kind of storms off in a huff, and I said, Pauline, I'm Peter Della Penna. I'd like to interview you. And she says, not today. Not today. I don't want to talk. And you can talk to my husband. And I said, well, who's your husband? You talk to him. And it's Kenwyn Williams, the one and only Kenwyn Williams. Is in a car waiting to drive his wife away. And I said, well, I want to talk to you. I'm not here to interview your husband. Your husband's not playing for the women's national team. You're playing for the women's national team. I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk today. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the right frame of mind. I don't want to talk. Like, okay, fine, fair enough. And I thought, well, I didn't just drive out here for nothing. I'll stay out here and see what else I can discover. And I'm watching the training session, and I see you out in the field, and I go, oh, this is a bit interesting. And I asked, who is this player Erica that they keep shouting Erica? I say, oh yeah, she's just got into the game, brand new. I say, well, where is she from? California. I say, she's American born, she's American raised. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. And so I'm watching you, and one of the things that I found fascinating about watching you then, and even now to a certain extent, your game has developed dramatically over the years. But even still today, and going back to then, you looked like you were fighting against your natural instincts because you were so determined to fit in by proving to everybody that you could play with a straight bat and you could do the proper technical things that cricketers pride themselves on. When in reality, I don't think there's anybody who can hit the ball as hard as you on the women's team, and I don't think there's anybody who can hit the ball as far as you on the women's team. Maybe Shivani Bhaskar. You're definitely the two strongest hitters of the cricket ball on the team. But I'm thinking to myself, why is Erica messing around trying to show everybody she can play a forward defense when she should be going out there and smashing sixes? I'm curious, as you're learning the game, is this a mental battle that you've been waging with yourself from the start and through your career in terms of trying to show the cricket evaluators that you can do quote, quote, traditional cricket things versus just going out there and not to use I hate using this cricket cliche, play your natural game, but just to go out there and show people that you can do something in terms of power hitting and hitting sixes and just natural ball striking that you've cultivated through these other sports athletically that you bring to cricket that a hell of a lot of other players in the team, they just don't have that skill set. So how has this development gone through your mind mentally and applying that physically to your stroke play?
Yeah, that I'm just laughing because that is what's going through my head. And it's, I know it's important to offer the straight bat to be able to hold your wicket and stay there so that you can get the power opportunities. But I wish I knew back then kind of what my mindset is now, that I do bring that value to the team in the strength and power, and that's something unique I can provide, and that nobody's coming to see a technical clinic on my batting. And I wish I would have unleashed that tiger like so many years earlier. But to answer your question, I think about it all the time. I think even at a practice 2 weeks ago, all I could think about is my top hand holding the bat right? Do I have my shoulder dipped? Am I sticking my neck out? And I work, I train mentally just to try and get in that zone where I'm not worrying about all the technique. And I find that to be kind of a thing with cricket, that there's just infinite technique and critique and I think every coach I meet, whether they're my coach or it's just some guy who decided to come up and coach me unsolicited, they'll all tell me, oh, you're holding the bat wrong, or your angle here, or the fourth stump, and this is an Indian style, or this is Australian style. And so I think that struggle to find your identity of what type of player you are and what you want to bring, as cricket is just, it's such a highly individualized team sport. So it's constantly challenging, and that's something I've been lucky to work on in the last couple of seasons. I think like having JP Julia Price come into the program and elevate me up the order for the T20 format, and kind of help me identify what kind of player I am in the mix of the team and how I can complement a more technical player like Sindhu. And that we need that diversity on the squad and the different skill sets to complement ticking a score up. So it's something I'm always working on. It's something I pride myself in. But yeah, that little bug about the technique and how you're holding the bat, it's constantly there. And I don't think, especially at this age, it's ever going to go away and just become this second nature thing. It's always there.
There are so many different ways to achieve the same outcome. And, there's this story way back when of Don Bradman averaging 99.94, and some English school coach said, well, just imagine if Don Bradman had held the bat the right way, how many runs he could have scored. And, this insistence or inflexibility from a lot of coaches that, no, only this way is the right way, rather than seeing what somebody's strengths are and tailoring the coaching to that specific player. Do you feel that external pressure just almost, again, from a social sense, that in order to fit in with the cricket community, you feel like you need to resort to these training methods, or even out in the middle of a match that you need to demonstrate these kind of things?
I don't feel it as much anymore, but it took a few things to get there. I mean, it took a couple good knocks in games that mattered to get that feeling. And at first, I really did. I felt that pressure. You're coming into this environment where everybody else, they either played since they were a kid, they have this whole identity behind cricket, what it means to them, and that could be a whole nother podcast for us, just talking about how important cricket is to everyone's life. And it's this, how it encompasses your whole life, really, once you get into it. But yeah, I felt that at first. I was tired of kind of being called the softball convert, and it's this American softball convert. And I'm thinking, I haven't really played softball since I was 16. I moved on to hockey. I play every sport, and basically, like, don't limit me to that. I'm ready to pick anything up and try it once. I think that's just kind of what I do. I can pick things up pretty quick, and if I decide to take something seriously or find some kind of mysterious discipline to actually focus on something, I like to go all for it. But yeah, that pressure was on in the beginning to kind of establish that I belong here, and I'm worth being here, and I'm not just some token person that needs to fill a slot on some roster. And all of that was just brought on by myself, and my own self-criticisms, or my sense of awareness of who I was on the squad. And yeah, being able to unleash all your tools like within a competitive space, I mean, it's a real skill to have. And I just think, yeah, the last few seasons I was really able to kind of let go of that need to continually prove myself, and just kind of enjoy the skills I have and really try to execute them. But all that being said, we work on technique all the time, especially in the preseason when we have time. And you still got to learn your ABCs before you go out and start talking. And so I'm not above the technique. I'm not above training for it, and it's good to still practice it, so that maybe I can implement a few percentages of that into a situation that matters.